Welcome to Reddit Reader. What is the scariest thing to happen to you when you've been home alone? I was home alone at my dad's while he was working nights, making my dinner and everything. I was probably about 14 or 15 at that time. I was watching TV while my potatoes were cooking when I heard something slam into the front door. I grabbed my pocket knife and check it out. Nothing. About 10 minutes later, I hear another bang on the front door. Repeat, and still nothing. Really freaked me out because we'd had a few houses get broken into on my street. Turns out I didn't put enough holes into my baked potatoes and they exploded in the oven. The scariest thing that happened to me, I didn't know actually happened until the following day. I lived in an apartment in a not so good part of a dangerous city with my boyfriend who worked nights. One day our friend came over and called me to let him into our building in a hurry. Turns out this guy had been crouched by my car in the parking lot and had approached our friend and closed in on him. My friend pulled out a weapon and the guy ran off. Upstairs, I noticed that the guy had left a green bundle near my car and assumed he would be back for it. It made me uncomfortable, so I suggested we call the cops. Not 5 minutes after a cop showed up to ask where the guy had gone, SWAT, K-9, and about 10 cars showed up and swarmed our area. Turns out, the guy had escaped from county the night before with 2 other guys. He was in jail for assault with a deadly weapon and repeated domestic violence offenses. He had climbed the fence in the yard behind our building where our landlord kept his camper, broken into the camper, and stayed there the night before. He had stolen all the electronics out of it as well as a butcher knife and was trying to break into my car before my friend showed up. I had been alone the night before and had taken my dog down to the yard to go to the bathroom. I noticed that the barbed wire on top of the fence had fallen down and my dog was nervous, but I brushed it off. The guy had been in the camper watching me the whole time and I never knew it. Was home alone one night and it was close to Halloween in 2015. Loud ass knock on the front door. I was eating dinner, so I slowly but cautiously go to the front door. Open it up and there is blood all over the front porch and no one there. Kind of freaked out a bit, thought it was a prank. Called the cops because what the you know? They said they would send someone there. They called back and said someone was on a bike and fell and was bleeding bad and was going door to door asking for help. I missed the person, but one of my neighbors helped them out apparently. Crazy. Probably pretty lame compared to most stories on here. Was working pretty late, RE 2 a.m. on my computer when I get an alert from my security camera that detected motion. I checked it, and there was a person staring into my apartment window in a full view of where I was working. I closed the computer, turned off the lights, and went into the bathroom for a bit. Turns out being extra paranoid when someone is staring into your apartment at 2 a.m. isn't a good combination. I checked the camera memory, and the guy was there for 20 minutes, just real casual. Called the cops, and the kid ran away and came back an hour later. Haven't seen him since. I was a young kid, home alone, and my mom called the phone and said a tornado was coming and I had to go to shelter in the basement. The basement was incredibly creepy, especially as a child. I never went down there on my own. So little old me grabs my toy lantern to descend into the basement all alone with rain hitting the windows, with only the flicker of my toy lamp to light up my surroundings while I make my way to the boiler room and shelter in place until someone comes to get me. Imagine that. Just sitting there in the darkness, listening to all of the sounds for something like 2 hours. F***ing freaky. Turns out the tornado missed us by miles. You're braver than I am. Similar story. When I was about 7 years old, my parents left me alone at home for some reason. This was pretty odd since they always made sure to leave me with a babysitter or older sibling until I was about 11 or 12. There was a tornado and I was too scared to go into the unfinished basement. So I ran across the street to the young early mid-20s couple across the street who had a cute dog. They let me in, called my parents to let them know where I was, and gave me candy. I got to hang out with the dog too, which was nice. Someone tried to break into my neighbor's house while I was babysitting their kids. I was 15, and I used to babysit for my neighbors down the block. They had a really nice house, 3 floors with a built-in garage under the house that connected to the basement. It was the family's most used entrance of the house, and they rarely locked the basement door as long as the garage was closed. They also had the type of security system where anytime a door opens, you heard beep, beep, beep. After the parents left one night, I was putting the kids to bed, and I heard the beep, beep, beep. I yelled out, thinking it was the parents coming back for something, but no one answered. The system on the wall kept reading, "Basement door open." I was freaked out, so I called my dad and asked him to come by since he was only a few houses away. When he arrived, he told me to stay in the kitchen while he checked the house out, but before he could, we heard the beep, beep, beep again, and then the garage door opened. When we ran to the window to see if the parents were pulling into the driveway, they weren't. Instead, someone in a hoodie was running out of the garage door and into the woods behind the house. My dad ended up calling the cops. I'm still creeped out by it. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe so you don't miss our next upload.